Here, JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, December 24th, 9:07 a.m. Happy Christmas Eve. Talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P in the green, or at least the futures. I would actually call it flat, but well, yeah. Let's see. Are we exactly flat? Exactly flat. Yeah, just went green. On the heels of the weekly jobs numbers this morning, initial claims came in a little better than expected. But markets rallied 4 days in a row. Yesterday's GDP number, the catalyst yesterday, and S&P closed at its 38th record high yesterday. Does that continue? Santa Claus rally season starts today. The official kickoff, 5 days left in 2025, and then the first two sessions of 2026. The last 2 years, the Santa Claus rally timeframe has seen negative returns, and never has there been 3 consecutive years of negative returns on the Santa Claus rally timeframe. So history is on the side that market's gonna be green over this time frame. We'll see. Uh, Pretty, I wouldn't say funny. It's just crazy. You look back at this year and all the things that the market has gone through. I mean, almost a year ago, it was DeepSeek, right? Who remembers the AI uh, thing that came out of left field from China that was going to destroy the market? Nvidia and all those names just got destroyed. That was back in January. In January, we had a strong rally to start the year, and then that came out, and you thought, okay, this is it. And then markets found footing, and then boom, markets actually started to get a little weaker in February. We had the car tariffs, right? The whole big fiasco between Mexico and Canada and the U.S. in regards to China. I mean, in regards to tariffs and cars, and then that just brought to Liberation Day, right? The thing that kind of shook the markets. And if you look back in April, oh my gosh, I mean, I'm only talking about this now because the GDP number yesterday kind of reminds me of the negative GDP read we had back in the first quarter. And a lot of folks, and even this morning, there's a piece in the Wall Street Journal talking about how a lot of folks had a lot of what's gone on this year wrong, right? There's odds of a recession back in April, 50, 60, 70%. All these different scenarios that were supposed to play out haven't, right? And not only that, the market's at all-time highs. If you had looked at folks in April and said, SPY's gonna be at 688, or market's gonna rally and be at all-time highs on December 24th, they would say you're nuts, right? Crazy. And here we are. So this goes to show you got to kind of, I wouldn't say you keep a blind eye to things, but you got to have an open mind, right? And I don't sit here and try and dismiss folks back in April talking about recession concerns. At the height of Liberation Day, with all the things going on, you're like, wow, how can the economy do well in an environment where tariffs might put a halt on all the commerce in U.S. and China and all that? So yeah, you take that kind of with a grain of salt. But then the other part of it is, even through April, it's the same chatter of folks saying, oh, all the reason the GDP number was negative back in first quarter is because everybody bought all these imported stuff ahead of the tariffs, right? So then the whole story became, okay, inflation is going to show up once the folks who hoarded all this stuff and all these warehouses, I don't know where they stored this stuff, right? But supposedly they stored all this stuff ahead of the tariffs so that they wouldn't have to raise prices as tariffs start to kick in. And then the story has been, okay, once those warehouses sell out, they're going to have to start to raise prices. And that hasn't showed up, right? Inflation hasn't showed up. And you still have folks saying at some point tariffs are going to have an impact. I mean, you have to think they will, right? But I mean, anyway, just don't want to go on a rant on things that's meaningless for today's action, but it just kind of goes to show you got to try and have an open mind. Otherwise, you get smushed in this market, especially if you've been, markets closed at all-time highs yesterday. So if you've had a bearish skew on the market since the entire year, and more so since April, it's not been a fun year, right? All right, so that's quick on the overall theme of the market. Take a look at the SPY 686. I was talking about a key spot, broke through that yesterday. Kind of like sometimes you see the market melt lower in a very slow trading action. Yesterday was the reverse. It was like just slowly melted higher. Tight trading ranges. I think at one point we traded in like a 10-cent trading range on the SPY for 45 minutes when we were in 687 range. And then boom, all-time highs. And here we are again this morning. You're kind of waiting for some kind of like pull, we're kind of like, folks are away on holiday or vacation, or, it's just a low liquidity environment right now. So it wouldn't take much for someone to kind of pull the market. So hopefully that doesn't happen here today. 38 all-time highs on the S&P so far this year. Maybe we get a couple more before the year's out. We have 5 more opportunities. All right, that's overall markets. Also take a look at VIX. I was talking about that yesterday too. 52-week low under 14 for the first time, and it's in here at 1396. So Not saying I'm going to watch the VIX here, but maybe that might be the clue if we do get some kind of reversal at some point. All right, so overall markets. Just quick on individual names. I've been looking for bounces, and in particular, Broadcom and Oracle and Reddit. And I'll talk about Reddit in a second. But waiting for Oracle. I was looking last week, maybe for 205s, 210s. Almost pulled the trigger a couple times on Oracle, and I was kicking myself because it was 192 or so. Went all the way up to 198, but then gave back all those gains yesterday. So then I'm looking for Broadcom, right? And then it opened, reversed, and then it looked like it was going to start to break out. And then once it broke over that 346 handle, which was the highs from Monday, I said, oh, looks like maybe the bulls can have something here. Might be to be able to do some follow through. Got those lotto strikes, and within 40 minutes or so, I was able to lock some in for 100% to cover costs. And then I held the rest. And it's sitting here at 350. I don't know what those 360s are going to open. I mean, they're still in the green at the close. You have to assume they'll be solidly in the green. I don't know how much they'll be up, but I'll probably look to take some more off just because. You never know. It's going to be a short day today. And then just ride the rest. But you start looking at the chart, the 50-day moving average is 361. So I don't know if that'll be a magnet. Obviously, if it gets to 361 by Friday, hopefully it does it sooner rather than later, because then the calls will be up substantial. Hopefully it doesn't wait till Friday afternoon for that to happen. But I'll continue to hold. Hopefully be able to lock some more in to ride profits with freebies and just hold the rest into Friday for that possible test of the 50-day moving average. You also have the momentum indicators kind of reversing here. So let's see if I post a chart, but anyway, nice little setup here if the mojo continues. So that's Broadcom. Oracle too. I'm not sure if I'm going to add some strikes here today. Today might not be the day I'm going to be overly aggressive looking at lottos, but if it finds some footing, I think it trades north to 200 in the coming days. So if that's the case, I think the 205s were 22 cents when I was looking yesterday. Of course, I don't have it up here. Apologies for that. Yeah, the 205s are 22 by 24. So the Oracle is pretty much flat as a pancake here in the pre-market. Maybe the 202.50s, those might be down to 22, 24 cents after the open. So if markets hold their ground here, might look for some lottos down in Oracle. So that's that. And then just other names, Serve Robotics, I wouldn't call it a consolidation day, but all the way down to 1050 yesterday. Reverse course in the afternoon, almost went red to green into the close, down 1%. Still looking for more strikes here. I'll wait for the 11 handle to hold for more than 20 minutes or so, and then I'll look for some more strikes there. And then Reddit, right? So need them out with their bullish call, putting on their conviction list for 2026, $300 price target. And then the stock was gapping. They're like, okay, maybe this is it. It's going to start to run. Opens at like 330, 230, 231, 232, all the way up to 237. And then the sell button was hit. Now, what time did that happen? Hit highs right at 9:35, hit 237.50, and then by 10:15, it's down to 227. So $10 reversal in a half hour's time frame. At times I was looking to play the bounce, but I'm waiting for it to digest. Maybe today's the day I finally get. Well, I shouldn't say finally get calls. I've been trading Reddit calls on and off for the last couple months. So I'm not sure if I'm going to wait for strength for a move over to 230 because Reddit has a chance has a tendency to break out right at the open. So maybe I'll just wait. If it holds gains by 10 o'clock or so, I'll look for some strikes. Two phases, maybe some strikes for lottos on Friday, as well as some strikes into next week. That's Reddit. Other names here. Oh, SanDisk, right? SanDisk still has a 6% implied move. It's gapping a couple bucks higher here in the pre-market. Still have a few lotto calls. Already locked some of those in for some profits. Let's see here. Same kind of premise. If you take a look at SanDisk, it has these swings, and like $10, $15 swings are almost the norm. It's just a matter of timing them. So take a look at yesterday's action: 244 at 9:45, 234 at 10 o'clock, and then back up to 245 by 10:55. So you're talking $10 swings on half-hour time frames. So unless you're good at timing both the top and the bottom, it's a roller coaster. It's not my forte, right? And then just trying to hold for higher. Just me, when I get the calls, I'm playing for a breakout to 270, 280. I'm not playing it to go to 245 and then reverse and go down to 234 and then rinse and repeat. So we'll see how today plays out. If I see some interesting, well, at least if it holds its ground, there's no sell-off swings, and maybe it looks like today might be just a follow-through day. Maybe I'll finally get some strikes to play into next week. The good thing is, I was looking at the 300s for next week. They were a heck of a lot more expensive yesterday, and now you start looking at the 300s. They're $1, right? So 70 by $1. Maybe if some premium crush into the afternoon, I can get some 290s into next week. That's probably the better plan than uh, trying to time next week's, trying to time this week's. That's that. And then, Solar Edge disappointing, no follow through yesterday after its rally on that Google intersect acquisition news. Have to think at some point this is going to be a gap and go situation, and then it resumes its post earnings move up past $50. Just a matter of timing, right? So hopefully the timing starts pretty soon. And that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.